Unlike last week's episode of Westworld where I thought the episode was average, here I think this episode, in my opinion, is the best episode yet. This episode is by far my personal favorite of Westworld. Unlike last week's episode where it felt a bit slow and wasn't as interesting as the very first episode, here this episode was more interesting, more fun, and overall more enjoyable to watch. And this is by far the best experience I've had with this show. I enjoyed every single second of this episode. I was not bored once. Every character was interesting. And something I liked more about this episode is they went more in depth into the core characters' backstories. Now, whether it's a TV show or a movie, I'm generally more of a character and story person. And I believe this episode executes both of these brilliantly. And the thing I liked more about this episode is they put more focus into the Dolores character. And I'm glad the creators did, because Dolores is so far becoming one of my favorite characters, alongside Ed Harris's character, and the pacing for this episode was perfect. And unlike the first few episodes where they were kinda hard to follow, this episode I was able to follow easily. I didn't get confused once, and by far this is the best episode of Westworld that makes you think more. And I actually don't have any gripes with this episode. I really didn't find anything wrong with it. I thought this episode was absolutely perfect. And already the show feels like a place to visit every single week. And this week I was more accepting of the world because I just accepted it for what it was, and I had a more fun time with this episode than the previous two episodes. So overall, this episode was absolutely perfect. This is by far my favorite episode of the show so far. If you've missed this episode, I would recommend watching it. This is by far the best episode. It gives more in-depth backstories to the core characters. This episode is the best written so far, so I have no problem grading this episode fantastic. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, be sure to like my Facebook page, follow me on Twitter, and subscribe to my channel below. As always, I'm NETX5. Thank you so much for watching.